It is an impressive piece of work, not just for its visual horror, but for the way it digs deep into the layers of Pennywise, or rather, the creature itself. Beyond the scares, it surprises with the emotional and narrative development of the kids who stand up to that entity. And among all the powerful elements in the story, one character stood out without question: Richie. From the beginning, one of the main questions hanging in the air was how the film would handle its group of child characters. By the end of the first act, that expectation was completely shattered by an unexpected tragedy. All the kids we believed would be the central focus of the story end up dead. The scene was shocking, raw, and unforgettable. Many even thought it might be a hallucination, but no, it was real. And it didn't hold back from flipping everything upside down right from the start. That's when the inevitable question came up. Would the new characters introduced after that be able to win over the audience just as strongly? As the story unfolded, the answer became clear. Yes, they absolutely did. In fact, they went even further and truly won people over. But out of everyone, it was Richie who fully took on the emotional spotlight. The character is naturally charismatic, but his performance elevated everything to another level. A lot of that comes from the talent of the young actor behind him. Just look at his interviews, behind-the-scenes clips, or even his social media. You can immediately tell how expressive, spontaneous, and magnetic he is. That authenticity leaps off the screen. If he sticks with acting, he's got serious potential to become a big name. His presence on screen is already a standout. Richie carried key emotional moments in the story and, without a doubt, became the most memorable part of it. Richie's friendship with Will grew in a completely natural way. From the start, their connection just clicked, and the chemistry between them was easy to feel. It didn't take much for the audience to get attached to the two of them and start rooting for that bond. Pennywise's influence over the town is undeniable. While he's not directly responsible for the social problems that already exist, he feeds off those conflicts, drawing strength from the fear and tension that are deeply rooted there. The way Will is treated during his first days at school makes that perfectly clear. Both the school environment and the town as a whole are marked by hostility, anger, and resentment. And in the middle of all that, Richie's appearance in Will's life stands out as a turning point. For the first time, we'll find someone who treats him with genuine kindness, something rare in that kind of setting. Ever since Richie mentioned he had a crush on Maggie, the audience had been waiting for their interaction to finally happen. But it only truly unfolded after Maggie became one of Pennywise's victims and started to grasp, on a deeper level, what was really going on with her and around her. The way Richie looked at Maggie, the way he treated her so gently, made it clear how much he cared. The scene where he tends to her wound using spit, even though it's such a small gesture, was full of affection. At the same time, it also served as a subtle warning that something tragic might be coming for him soon. That connection between them also gave Maggie's character a whole new dimension. Up until that point, she was viewed with a fair amount of dislike. Since episode 1, she came off as annoying, especially in how she handled the situation with Lily. Her actions felt driven by a desperate need to be accepted by a shallow and cruel group of girls, which only pushed the audience further away from her. But after being attacked by Pennywise and getting closer to Richie, Maggie goes through a major shift. She starts to understand where she truly fits in, and when she finally stands up to the popular girls in the middle of the cafeteria, it marks a real turning point in her character. That moment of change strengthens the bond between her and Richie, now that they've both faced the same horrors and are dealing with the same threats. They're finally on the same side of everything. Even so, the audience was hoping for a deeper development in the possible romance between Richie and Maggie, even if it remained light, in line with their age and reality. While that relationship wasn't fully explored, the final scene where they both say, "I love you," right before his death was, without a doubt, one of the most touching moments in the entire series. Despite having known each other for only a short time, that exchange carried real emotional weight and ended up being one of the most powerful lines in the whole story. What truly broke our hearts was the moment Richie kissed the box where Maggie was hiding, right before closing it. That single gesture made it crystal clear just how much he cared about her, how sincere his feelings really were. And there's an important detail in that moment. Throughout the story, Maggie had shown clear insecurity about her looks, but Richie saw her in a completely different light. To him, she was one of the most beautiful things he had ever seen in his life. That contrast between how she saw herself and how he saw her adds an emotional depth to their connection that hits hard. Richie's death had already been foreshadowed. The previous episode had focused so much on him that many viewers started to suspect something was coming. Most expected him to be Pennywise's next direct victim. But what happened was completely unexpected. Richie dies at the Black Spot, a location with a tragic past, even mentioned in the books, where children had also died. So, narratively, it made sense for someone from the group to meet that fate. But the shock came in how it happened. Richie didn't die at Pennywise's hands. The monster didn't even touch him. Instead, Richie died like a true knight, fulfilling the promise he had made to Maggie. This tied perfectly into their earlier conversation when he said he wanted to be a knight for her, someone who would protect her no matter what. The scene where he places Maggie inside the box, making sure she fits, and then lays on top to shield her, is one of the most heartbreaking moments in the series. He wasn't just stopping her from escaping in a panic, he was sealing his own fate to make sure she would survive. All of it fueled by the bond that had grown between them, even in such a short time. That's why his death hit so hard. Unlike the brutal and shocking deaths of the kids in the first episode, Richie's death was deeply emotional. The connection that viewers had built with him over the course of the episodes made his goodbye that much harder to process. Some fans even came up with an interesting theory that Richie had become so fearless, so at peace with his decision, that Pennywise didn't even want him. And while that's never confirmed, it actually makes a lot of sense. After all, Pennywise feeds on fear, and in that moment, Richie had none. Either way, there's no denying it. His death was one of the most powerful and emotional moments of the entire series. One of the most powerful moments in the series was when Dick Halloran finally manages to close his box, the metaphor for his trauma of seeing dead people. What had haunted him for so long, he's now able to control, with help by facing his fear head-on. And this becomes even more meaningful in the final stretch during the battle against Pennywise. There, Dick starts seeing the dead again, but this time, in a completely different way. Now he sees the good ones, not as ghosts or threats, but as presences that guide, support, and comfort. And when we realize that Richie is among them, it's a moment of pure impact. If that scene had been playing in a movie theater, the crowd would have gone wild. His appearance there was completely unexpected. Up until that point, everything led us to believe Richie had truly died. The reveal was a shock, and one of the series' most unforgettable twists. Watching Richie reappear at such a crucial moment, helping Dick fight Pennywise, was one of the biggest plot twists in the entire story. No one saw it coming, especially after we had seen his body. Everything pointed to his death being final, but there he was. And not only that, he flips off Pennywise in one final act of defiance. It was cathartic, intense, and easily the most iconic moment of the series. A true emotional climax. The way Dick and Richie, together, placed the artifact in the tree, sealing Pennywise's prison once and for all, was the perfect ending. The story needed to close the same way it started, with the two of them. Their relationship had always been the emotional backbone of the plot. There was no better or more bittersweet way to end it. But as powerful as that reunion was, it was also deeply sad. Because only Dick could see Richie, none of the others could. They felt a presence helping them in that final moment, but they didn't see Richie. And that visual absence left a huge void. They don't know it was him. And they know too that they won't see him again. Only Dick will carry that connection until the day they all inevitably meet again. That silent farewell, where only one friend can still see the other, adds a melancholic weight to the ending. Richie may be gone, but he left his mark. And he's still there, in a way only the eyes of someone who has faced death can truly see. Richie was, without a doubt, one of the most memorable characters it ever introduced. Charismatic, spontaneous, and emotionally powerful, he had one of the most well-crafted and heartbreaking deaths in the entire series. That image of his hand dissolving into smoke in his final moments stayed etched in the audience's mind. And just when we thought his story had ended, he comes back in the finale, in a surprising twist, to help the others bring about Pennywise's ultimate defeat. Beyond the writing, which gave the character beautifully built moments, from light and tender scenes to emotionally intense ones, the actor who played Richie was essential in bringing it all to life. He added a natural charm to the character. Moments like him playing the drums, treating Maggie's wound, or slowly building a sincere friendship with Will are all examples of how carefully Richie's arc was crafted. He became a strong emotional link between the characters and the audience. And with the recent confirmation that Maggie is the mother of the Richie we see in the future, the one in the Losers Club who defeats Pennywise, everything hits even harder. We already knew she had named her son after someone who meant a lot to her as a child. But now, learning that Richie was the boy who sacrificed himself so she could survive gives the story an even deeper emotional impact. The cycle closes with meaning and pain. The original, young Richie is the kind of character who sticks with you. His emotional and narrative strength was so great that he became unforgettable. Even though other kids also had powerful arcs, like Lily dealing with her father's death and being labeled unstable, or Ronnie facing racism and the false accusation against his father, who never committed the crime, Richie still stands out. Will, in turn, carries the burden of living under the shadow of his father, a former Special Forces member and a key figure in the original Losers Club story. And that ties directly into the identity and name of Maggie's son in the future, the new Richie. The importance of Richie's character goes far beyond what we saw on screen. He didn't just sacrifice himself for someone he loved. He became the reason a whole new generation carries his name, literally. The impact he made is lasting, it crosses generations, and without a doubt, he'll continue to be remembered in the upcoming seasons. Not just as one of the show's most emotional losses, but as one of the biggest hearts it has ever given us. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps and lets us know you want more content like this. And hey, there's another video waiting for you right there on the screen. Go ahead and click it to keep watching with us.